guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and Android 2.2 is hard enough to come by on some high-end smartphones, not to mention mid-range phones. You don't really see it yet. You know, Android 2.2 is coming to the high-end stuff. We're still running Android 2.1, 1.5, 1.6 on a lot of mid-range devices. That's one of my favorite things about the LG Optimus S with Sprint. It comes with the Android 2.2 out of the box, and it's Sprint's version of the LG Optimus line. So, you know, feature-wise, it's pretty mid-range. High-end specs are few and far between. It has a 3.2-inch display, 3.2 megapixel camera, but it is running Android 2.2 out of the box. So pretty cool there. You're updated and ready to go when you buy it. So is it the best mid-range device in Sprint? Is it the one to buy? We'll take a look in the full review. And so you can see now that contact's been added, there I am, Aaron Baker, and no additional information. So let's edit that and add a phone number, for example. Just as a sample, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so you can see I have the option to call or text message from the contact screen there. So very typical, very standard Android. Not a lot of changes there. But you know, a couple nice features about the Optimus S while I'm thinking about it. Visual voicemail, and it comes free with Sprint's Everything data plan. So if you get that $69.99 Everything data plan, which doesn't require an extra $10 because this is not a 4G device, you get voicemail included as part of your plan. So very nice touch on that front to get something like that for free. Other Android 2.2 changes, Google's News and Weather widget. You know, you've seen that on other devices, but with Android 2.2 comes the News and Weather widget. I happen to like it a lot, and you can put it on your desktop, for example. And you can organize it by news, weather, or news and weather. So let's say we want just weather. I can bring it up on the desktop, and it looks just like that. So you can see once the widget's installed, you can click on it, see the weather forecast for 7 days, and then you can scroll over to top stories, US, sports, a couple of different categories, entertainment, and that's it. So you can do it like that. You can do a like I said, a sole weather widget. You can do a just news widget, or you can do news and weather all in one. So it's a nice touch across the board, and it's one of my favorite widgets on these devices. Now let's go into the widgets while I'm thinking about it, and let's have a look at some of the Sprint widgets that are a little bit different due to Sprint ID. You have Sprint Contacts, Sprint Football Live, Sprint Messaging, and tutorial widgets as well, along with Sprint TV, weather, and Sprint Zone. So all of those widgets, those are Sprint ID based widgets. So let's go into, you know, for example, Sprint Weather. It's the weather widget that you remember from the Kyocera Zayo, the Samsung Transform, or those two, you know, Sprint ID enabled handsets. So similar there. Messaging is the same. We'll take a look at that. Sprint Messaging, and you can see, so they're pretty clean, decent widgets. Though I'm a fan of Google's News and Weather widget, and you know, some of the widgets that are found on Sense and Moto Blur. But otherwise, you know, they're decent and nice and clean. Let's take a look at the quadrant standard scores and see here what those come in at. And while we're running this, I'll talk a little bit about call quality, speakerphone, things of that nature. Call quality has been very good. I've been pleased with this device. The earpiece is loud. Callers could hear me well. I was able to hear them well. No problems whatsoever there. Speakerphone was good as well. I tested it in 2 coffee shops over the past few weeks, although I don't really know if it counts because it was 2 of the same the same franchise but 2 different coffee shops. So take that as you will. But the speakerphone worked well, and I took it to an a Sprint dead spot in South Charlotte, and it worked just fine. Now there were some cutouts. I thought I was going to lose it at one point, but it did maintain the call, both when I was standing in it and then I did a drive-through test as well. So been very good there. EVDO Revision A speeds have also been pretty decent. I mean, it's no 4G by any means. WiMAX is going to blow past this in day-to-day testing. But I've been very pleased with, for what it is, EVDO Revision A, I've been very pleased with it on that front. You know, the Android market's loaded quickly. I haven't had any issues with installing apps. I haven't had any challenges browsing the web. Anything of that nature. It's been pretty clean and lag free and the entire time. So nice touch on that front. But let's wait and see. Take a look at some of the frames per second as it's loading up here. Wait for that to zoom in. There we go. So we're coming up in the final part of the quadrant standard score. So it'll be interesting to see, as a mid-range device, how does this compare to something like the Motorola Bravo, the Motorola Flipside? A couple of those. Let's see benchmark results. 418. So just as I thought, right there in that 350 to 550 range that I'm seeing with most of these mid-range devices like the Optimus S, the Optimus T, and some of those other devices, Samsung Transform, things of that nature. So it's right there in the mid-range. Don't expect this to be phenomenal in the performance department, but the fact that it has Android 2.2 allows you to do some cool things like flash, and all in all, it's faster. So before we jump into the speed test app, let's take a look at the camera. It's a 3.2 megapixel camera, no flash, but it does have recording capabilities in addition to still pictures. You know, it's pretty decent for a mid-range 3.2 megapixel camera. I was kind of impressed with it, you know, like I was with the Vortex on Verizon. Granted, that's almost exactly the same phone, but it has the physical camera button, so it allows for autofocus, you know, half press to autofocus, full press to take the picture. So you can see, we'll take a quick picture here, this keyboard. And granted, there's a lot of light shining down right now because I'm shooting the review, obviously. But I've been very pleased. You know, you look at some of the editing settings, focus mode, picture size, you can change picture quality, color effect, you can change your store location, white balance, and your zoom as well. But let's take a look at that picture. And you can see, I mean, you know, again, no flash. It's well lit certainly right now, but no flash, and you can still see the keys pretty well. You can see the white text easily. And for the most part, the picture on this display at least is pretty crisp, so not bad at all. Now you get in a low lit situation with both the camera or the camcorder, and you're gonna see a challenge. It's gonna be hard to take a quality picture. But in well lit situations, daytime, a day in the park, anything like that, you should be more than fine. Let's take a look at the speed test. You know, I'm in the Charlotte metro area, and for the most part, you know, Sprint's 4G speeds are decent. They're a little bit sporadic, but decent. You know, let's take a look at 3G EVDO revision A, and it should be set for Charlotte. And let's do a speed test now. Now it's important to note it's 4 o'clock, so you know, this is our rush hour between about 3:45 and 5:30, and I'm beside one of the major interstates. My office is located pretty closely, so keep that in mind when you look at these low speeds. But still, 246 kilobits per second. That's pretty bad. Even in EVDO revision A, I would expect at least 1 megabit per second. And then on the upload, 329 kilobits per second. Let's do one more test just to make sure, give it the benefit of the doubt. But you can see the speeds just are not great at all. Let's see here, about 300, roughly 301 kilobits per second. And then on the upload, 539 is what I'm going to guess. 575, 574. 574 kilobits per second. Obviously, you know, the numbers aren't the best in the world, not great by any means. And I've seen this over the course of a couple of weeks with Sprint in the Charlotte metro area, where the upload speeds are faster than the download speeds. So not sure what's going on, not sure if it's strain on the cell site. That's something to keep in mind, but could be a number of things, but certainly, you know, not the best speeds in the world. Otherwise, a great device. It's $50 after rebate, and it's a wonderful little mid-range device. Something I'd recommend to family, friends, anybody that doesn't need the highest end device. They don't need an Evo, don't need an Epic 4G, but they want a good entry-level smartphone. The Optimus S or the T or the U or the Vortex, or you know, your respective one for your carrier. They're great devices. Much more coverage to come on the LG Optimus S on Sprint. Be sure to check out facebook.com/phonedog. Like us. We're giving away 100 iPads, or actually your choice of a tablet. An iPad, a Galaxy Tab, or a Playbook, and you have 1 in 5,000 chance of winning. That's pretty impressive, and it's one of the best contests on the net right now. So be sure to like us on facebook.com/phonedog. Enter our sweepstakes. You get up to 6 entries. It's easy to do. It takes 5 minutes, and who knows? You could win an iPad, Galaxy Tab, or Playbook. Be sure to follow me on Twitter as well, phonedog_Aaron. I'd love to answer any questions you have about this device, anything you see me review, why my hair stays the way it does, whatever. Love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.